Community Chronicles. We good? We got it? All right. Community Chronicles Radio, brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and the entrepreneurs in the Erie area. Welcome to Community Chronicles Radio. If you would like to ask a question of us or any of our guests, give us a call here at the studio, 814-679-1080. That number again, 814-679-1080. I am Dr. Matthew Plotz, and with me today, as always, is our fabulous co-host, Steph Screws. I didn't change that line today, Steph.
I know. I thought I'm brave again.
Oh, you're always brave. Always brave.
I could be brave and fabulous and anything you want me to be.
You're all of the above. All of the above.
Oh, thank you. You as well.
So, how are things in Corey this morning? Cats behaving, all that good stuff that goes on?
Yeah, the cats I think found their own little beds and they're sleeping and they're not bothering me or trying to walk across the computer. So we're doing good, and it's looking a little overcast here, but I think the sun's going to come out eventually, hopefully.
We're on show 18, so they figured out the routine. Don't bother mom while the show's going on. 18 times they've seen this now. 18 times we've been on this show.
Wow.
I know. I can't believe it. Every time I write the script and I add the day, I just can't believe how far this show has come.
Yeah, we've come a long ways. I can't believe it's been 18 shows already. That's a lot.
Part of that journey was picking up a new sponsor, and I want to thank the new sponsor, Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, for their continued sponsorship of the program. We've had a tremendous amount of success providing a medium for the Erie area's entrepreneurs to tell us about their products and services. Last week, we had a great conversation with one of ETI's board members, Sean Michaels, and an Erie City entrepreneur, Rachel McCreary, over at 19th and Chestnut. That conversation produced an inquiry from a Corey area entrepreneur, and we have that guest on the show today. I'd like to introduce our first guest, Julie Zajac, owner of her family farm, Three Pillars Farm, located in Columbus, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Julie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome, Julie. Can we start off by telling us just a little bit about yourself and Three Pillars Farm?
Sure. So I grew up on that farm. It was a dairy farm. We're in Pine Valley, technically, just south of Bear Lake, but we have a Columbus address. So I am a product of the Corey High School system, graduated in '84. I'm also a product of Mercyhurst College. Was in the first sports medicine class from '84 to '88. And then went south to Georgia I actually had a minor in wellness. And so I went to Georgia to intern at Georgia Pacific in their corporate fitness program. So as many people have, I ended up staying in Georgia and, furthered my career in physical therapy and then ultimately public health. So.
Quite the journey.
Yeah.
Indeed. One thing led to another, and the people I've met along the way have been awesome. And again, it's being open to opportunity. And once I learned that I had, a talent for certain things, I wanted to make a difference, and especially with physical therapy, as I was treating patients both in the hospital and the outpatient clinic. I was an outpatient therapist, and it was like, there's got to be more that I can do to prevent injury from happening in the first place. And that's what led me to public health.
So do you do both the physical therapy? Do you still do that along with doing the farm at the moment?
No. Well, no. Physical
okay.
therapy, I gave up that license in 2004. I currently work for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta.
Okay.
I've been there for nearly 20 years, and again, it's been a blessing. I've met so many amazing people from all over, and it's an honor. I realize that there are different opinions of CDC given what we've been through for the pandemic, but there really are some amazing people, and we really do work 24/7. I can attest to it, having served in the response.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do, like with the CDC, or what that encompasses? Or
Sure. And certainly there are many roles at the CDC. I am technically on paper a public health analyst. And what I do is look across policy programs, and in my heart, I'm an evaluator. So we assess, are these programs working? Are they serving the people they're supposed to serve? And my niche is, are we making the best use of taxpayer dollars? Believe it or not, there are those people in the government that are concerned about that, and I am one of them.
well, good. I'm sure a lot of other people are as well.
Yes, you don't often get to hear, but again, and I guess I should say I have to have the caveat that I'm not speaking on behalf of the CDC or the federal government. I'm here as an individual.
So, getting back, I guess, to the Three Pillars Farm, what brought you back to the farm, and what do you hope to accomplish with this farm? I guess I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Yeah, as many people have experienced, I came back because of health issues in my family, and I'm one of four kids. I'm the youngest. My eldest brother inherited the farm from my parents, and it was a successful dairy farm. And my brother was a one-man show, but he came to that point in his life where he couldn't continue. He semi-retired and ultimately, unfortunately, had a very severe stroke that took his life. And so the farm was in crisis. And so the three remaining siblings, three of us, now own the farm. And, at one point it was near 500 acres. We did have to sell off a good portion of that land to pay medical bills because, farmers don't often have the greatest insurance and et cetera. So, long story short, I was bound and determined because my family has a history on that land. My grandfather came and moved to 1929, right before the pandemic, moved his family from Minneapolis area. And he had relatives in Pine Valley, and they talked about a beautiful farm. I actually have letters between the previous owner and my grandfather about the sale, coming to this is beautiful land, the barns, the equipment that's there, and it's interesting to read. Especially this gentleman had terrific handwriting. But bottom line, it's talking about their, cities, the nearby cities, and Bear Lake, which literally is 5 minutes around the corner now. He talked about it being a 15-minute drive. And Corey and Jamestown and Erie and so on, places of business. So, the history is important to me, and it's the Zajac family farm, but Three Pillars is our nonprofit arm. And to me, the values that I've learned, I grew up, again, you don't appreciate it while you're in it, but looking at the career that I've had, the reason that I've been able to do what I've done is because of hard work and persistence. And that's the values you learn on the farm. You don't have an option to not. You just don't.
I could totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I grew up on a farm, and a family farm, a dairy farm, and we're lucky enough to still, between my other two siblings, the three of us, we still own that land, but it kind of, like you said, and it's a lot of hard work. Of course, you don't appreciate it when you're in it. You don't appreciate unloading hay and 100-degree or 80-degree weather. Maybe not 100-degree, but you learn a lot of good values. And that farm was in our family as well. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the manpower to keep it going, and kind of let it go. But luckily, we rent it out to other farmers. And climbers. So, and it's nice to have that land. Like now I got a 4-wheeler and I get to go, zooming around up there. But there's a lot to learn on a farm. And I think it's great that you've, like I said, you've turned this into something else, and you've turned it into something amazing and doing something with it. And it's been in your family. And that's a great thing.
Well, thank you.
I guess the next question on our list, I'm not even sure what this is myself, so hopefully you can enlighten me. What is agro-tourism? How would you explain that?
Oh,
Or what is that exactly?
yeah, so your best example of it here is Port Farms over in Waterford. And
Oh, okay.
they've really, done an amazing job in turning their family farm into, and I know they've been at it for several years, but they, from what I can tell, have just done an amazing job welcoming the community onto their farm for a series of farm related um, entertainment type activities, and it's great to get kids on the farm there. And then again, promo for them, the Poverty Knob that they opened, the brewery and event space. So it looks like they're just doing great. So that's a terrific example of agritourism here.
I think the best part about it is that, we live in a society where you go to the store and you can pick things up and there's a pepper there or there's
Right.
a 6-pack of beer and we have the end product and we have it. What that does, and it kind of communicates to people the idea that there's a process to all of this, and you get to know that process by being kind of immersed in it, and it's interesting, and learning where your food comes from kind of opens people's eyes a little bit.
Yeah, and what I want to do with the farm, and there are terrific models all over this country. In doing some business planning with Strategy Solutions based here in Erie, we've talked to Shelburne Farms in Vermont. We talked to Serenbe in Atlanta area, south of Atlanta, Farm Stay USA in Oregon. There are terrific models all over this country. And we have, it takes leaving and coming back to realize what assets, what wonderful outdoor natural assets Erie, Warren, Crawford County, Chautauqua County have. So we are very blessed in this area. And my hope is that we can use the farm to get people to think about farming in a different way, look at farming in a different lens. Yes, there's traditional agriculture, but having a farm-based center where you're teaching, you're offering, again, getting kids immersed. It's not just an hour or two.
Right.
It's get them immersed in activities where they're working together. They're seeing they can take pride in the work that they did. They've accomplished something. And then there's the patience factor,
Right.
where we live in the world of I have immediate gratification on this
Yes.
electronic device in my hand versus, okay, you're gonna make this row, you're gonna plant this seed, you're gonna put some cow manure, compost, and you're gonna water it, and you're gonna wait.
A long
We
time.
don't like to wait, do we? No, but you're gonna have to wait, and then you will reap. Again, we reap what we sow, and that's the thing is we need to invest in taking the time to stop and slow down and appreciate, what we're doing. What this really is, kind of reflect on the activity that we're doing.
Interestingly, we do have the 21st Century Girls program that's been out to the farm the last 2 years. So it isn't necessarily lost on younger people, what this process looks like and what the farm does. They consistently, in the 2 years that I've been there, reported it as one of their favorite activities to go out to the
That's
farm.
terrific
So
to hear.
if it's done right and you hit on the right combination, it certainly does what you're hoping it would.
Yes, and I hope we can expand. I mean, that is the goal is to, we are part of Erie Gives this year, which I'm thrilled. It's our first opportunity to do some serious fundraising, but we can expand these programs. There are other programs in Pennsylvania, and not too, far. I just learned of a program I believe it's in the Elk County area, where it's a farm camp. It's a full week of activity. And they have fun, but they do, some serious hands-on, physically intense activity. And they're learning. Again, it's the word I want to bring out here is grit. Okay, I've literally seen camps where it's like, okay, you're going to learn grit, right? Because resilience is a key
Yes.
factor for mental health for young people these days. You can do this. You can push through. You can make it. So that's
Gotta-
again.
You got to get your hands dirty.
You gotta
Yeah,
sweat. You gotta
yes.
sweat.
Like on the watching the or looking at the pictures of the 21st century girls, looks like they had a lot of fun. I know it's pretty hot, but they're like wading through that creek, but I want to get out there next year, or like I said, even maybe to Farm Fest that you've got coming up, because it just looks like a lot of fun. Like you said, it's work, but it's rewarding work. And like I said, then there's a lot to learn too. And I know when I was growing up, I didn't want to. I think a lot of times maybe resented it because it's like I always had farm chores, and I
Right.
didn't look at all the educational aspect of maybe farming. It was just like, I have to go do this, or like I said, having patience. I remember you talking about having patience with the crops growing. I mean, even to feed calves and stuff. I remember when
Mm-hmm.
we'd have to try to feed them out of a bucket, and then they'd, kick the buck all across. I don't know. There was so much patience to be learned, like you're saying, and hard work, and yet, I grew up and I learned how to work hard, and I had a lot of good values through that, and like I said, getting out. Of course, that was
Mm-hmm.
before cell phones too. I'm starting to feel old. I'm aging. Like back then we didn't have cell phones, we had to go out and do this, and
It is.
you know
It's a new way of operating. I mean, ever since we've been, my sister is on the farm, and for a few years we were fortunate enough to have her two young sons on the farm to help us out. But it was like, all right, I need you to put your cell phone down, and I need you to put both hands on this, whether
yeah.
it's the tractor or this tool. I need your focus right here.
It's so
Yeah.
difficult. Just I always talk about this social experiment that if you took somebody's phone and you took it, you see that person getting very edgy. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Give me my phone back." You show somebody a photo and you want your phone back quickly. It's hard to get them to set those things down.
Indeed.
I know my siblings would get upset because, as the technology, even like we would feed the grain or the silage and stuff, and they used to do it manually with carts, and then we got this electric feeder, and there because I was the youngest one, and so they always like said, "You got the fancy little, power tools to do stuff," and I would zoom around with that, and it had this little auger thing that, you know. Spit out the food to them, and I'm like, I know I got the fun toys, so they always like. But speaking of like fun toys, well, I don't know if this goes to it, but you have a lot of projects at the farm. So who helps you with all the projects at the farm?
Well, we are so fortunate to have great neighbors. Hopefully, they won't mind me mentioning their names. Don Seymour, his daughter Melissa, her husband Alan. Just similar to our situation where, you know, we moved, my brother and sister moved away. Now we're back. Um, Don, his daughter, and her husband are back. So it's terrific that we have some new blood in Pine Valley. So they have been terrific volunteers. Another great, just, again, meeting people. Hopefully they won't mind me mentioning their names, but the Hermans out of Wattsburg reached out. They wanted their kids to have experience in working on the farm. So the Austin and Aubrey, shout out, have been coming out to the farm, and we have a plot, a quarter-acre plot that they've planted, and so they planted sunflowers and pumpkins and some zinnias. So I'm hoping we have a good crop and they can sell it. And there you go. So there's the pride. They're reaping what they've sown, and they're seeing the reward for doing so.
That's great. And you also have, of course, we want to make sure we get in Farm Fest. Can you talk
Hmm.
a little bit about Farm Fest coming up?
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. This is our third year, and so it's on July 27th. We have uh, basically a slightly split day. We have formal classes in the morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And so we're featuring Melissa Lyon and her husband Aaron of Laughin' Lion Ranch. They have beautiful black and white draft horses. They've been doing our wagon rides the last 2 years, and they're starting to teach driving skills for driving the draft horses. So they're going to teach a clinic for 2 hours that morning. And all this is on our website of www.3pillars, it's pillarz.com. So if you want to go there for the full schedule. But I'm so excited for this class. Also, Dan Stroop with Tamarack Farms Piedmontese Cattle. He has about 20 head of cattle on our property, and he's experimenting with, or going to experiment with, virtual fencing, which means solar powered collars for cattle that keep them within prescribed limits. So you have a software platform that you outline the area that you want to keep the cows in, and as they near that edge, that border, they'll get a signal, auditory, and then they'll get the electronic signal, zap, to
Wow.
stay within that border. So he's going to experiment with it. New Zealand is doing it. That's where he's been kind of looking at what they've been doing, but then also, I forget which state out west is doing it, but I'm excited that he's kind of the first person doing this in our area. A lot of people do beef cattle, so I hope any farmers out there listening that are interested will come. That's from 10 to 11 a.m. And we also have Corey Hyad sponsoring a beekeeping 101, and Bee Happy Farms out of Asheville, New York is coming to do that class. And then we also have Jill's Just Breathe Yoga there, and she's doing her third year of goat yoga on the farm, which
Yay.
is always very cute. Melissa Curtis of Skyline Farms is providing the very cute little goats that are going to be dancing around
Aw.
there with folks.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and that's our morning classes. So I just wanted to let folks know. And if you would please, if you're interested in joining us, please reach out to me. My the email is on the website. Would love to know, so we have a count of who's coming. And then in the afternoon, it's 11:30 to 3. We have sort of that open community fun event. We have live music starting from 11:30, running through 3, and that'll feature Tyler McLean, who's a local favorite, as well as Slim and Red, who are beloved. And then Jeff Coral has a really cool story. He is a farmer out of Central PA, and he went to Nashville, I believe it was in the 90s, to try to make it as a country music singer. Was there for 10 years. He had some moderate success, but his dad wanted him to come back to help farm, and he agreed to do it under certain conditions. And then in 2018, 2019 timeframe, as we all know, we've seen dairy disappear around our area here. They had to sell their cows, and so he said it felt like he was having a heart attack. The emotional pain from losing. And unless you're a farmer or a dairy, and especially dairy, you know the pain of losing those animals. And so he has a song called Empty Barn that I've gotten to the point where I don't cry when I utter the words empty barn. But it's very sad to come back to an empty barn when you know the life that was there, the work that went into it, etc. So anyway, he does. I mean, we had people come out last year to expressly to come and listen to Jeff. So, please come out and enjoy the live music. We've got food trucks, local food trucks. We've got all kinds of farm-related activities. The Dairy Princesses, Pennsylvania Region 6 Farm Bureau Director, Warren County Farm Bureau. We've got artisans coming out, and we've got a great farm market. We'll have different types of meat, so local beef, local pork, and I'm working on local veggies because our dear friends at Nordland Farms are taking a break this year. So I'm going to be reaching out to Waterford and the Warren area to try to find some veggie farmers.
We're coming up on the news break, bottom half of the hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure that you check out Farm Fest Saturday, July 27th. Make the drive down. Check it out. Would you like to stick around and talk to our next guest when we come back? All right. We'll be back on Community Chronicles Radio right after the news. Welcome back to Community Chronicles Radio, brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and the entrepreneurs in the Erie area. For the second half of the show, I am happy to introduce a local entrepreneur, Karen Thomas, also Director of Entrepreneurial Operations, Brad Gleason, I believe, is on the call, and Kathy Roach, also at the Erie Technology Incubator. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hi. Yes, welcome.
So,
Thank you.
Karen, we'll start off with a question for Karen. Could you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, my name is Karen Thomas, and I am currently one of the co-owners of Pineapple Eddie Southern Bistro, which is a restaurant here in Erie, PA, located in the West Bayfront area. We've been up and running for about 14 years. It's a family-owned business. We've had considerable success since we started, which has been great. And looking forward to continuing that project, but also I will be venturing off and eventually starting a new one. So yeah, it's been a good experience here, even with the recent pandemic, which sort of interrupted things. We've sort of managed to stay afloat.
So what other kind of challenges have you encountered by owning your own business?
Well, there's always a challenge of growth. Being a small business, you can often have limited opportunities to level up. Funding for expansion or, sort of support services that you do sort of, move yourself to the next level can often be kind of challenging. We've often had challenges with staffing. I think that was something that probably was sort of amplified by the pandemic. But those have been probably the most primary challenges, and I would have to say growth being the first one.
Yeah, definitely. And how have you seen the startup community change over the years?
It's been really interesting. So I'll tell you that I am a native New Yorker. I'm originally from New York City, and I moved here because of my husband's work. I am now happily a Erie citizen. But I will have to say that the ability to be able to start a small business here should make most people very optimistic. There are services and access to resources here that might often be difficult to, be part of in a larger city. I think the fact that the size of this community may be something that may significantly help your ability to access services. I'd also say too that the pandemic did a very interesting thing. I think it made people, start to think about what they felt was important in their life, quality of life, and maybe if they had some hobby or pet project that they might have been, kicking around before the pandemic sort of, made it possible for them to, take a chance and perhaps start something for themselves. So I think that that has probably been one of the most optimistic and good things about the entrepreneurial or startup community here.
So what can you tell us about your experience on the ETI board?
I am one of those people who likes to help advocate for people doing their own thing. So if I always encourage that in everybody, even my own kids, even when they first started college, I would tell them, eventually when you graduate, whatever it is that you are going to study or whatever it is you want to do as your life's work, make sure that it's something you want to get up and show up in the morning for, but also in the back of your mind, think about what are the ways that you can eventually turn it into something that you can drive for yourself. So yeah.
Okay. Now, well, maybe you already answered this, but what drew you to joining the ETI board?
Oh, so I think it was a probably a spin-off project that we had started, um, and I can't remember because it's all happened during the pandemic. But we, in an attempt to try to keep driving revenue while we were shut down, we have a sauce that we actually make at the restaurant. And it seemed to be a sauce that everybody would always ask extra for when they were in the restaurant. And so it was suggested to us that we should bottle it. And I think that right around the time that we were tossing that idea around, I think that Kathy reached out to me and asked me if I would be part of the ETI board. I'm not sure how that got started, but we have history that precedes me being part of that organization and her actually being there. But yeah, she reached out and I jumped at the chance because I love to be part of things that help people to, you know, grow themselves.
That's really great. So many people talk about their inflection points during COVID and how that changed how you look at things. Um, so I just really like that story. One thing that I noticed when I was doing show prep, you studied your art in France. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I was an exchange student during my time. I'm a graduate of Johnson and Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island. And my last semester, I had the opportunity to study abroad. And so that took us to Schiller International University, which was in Strasbourg, France. So while I was there, the coursework was international hospitality. And so we had a relatively laid back curriculum because they really wanted us to explore hospitality in Europe. And so it was a really good opportunity to see how they do things over there versus how things happen over here.
That's really great. My daughter, she's 16. She's taking culinary classes out at Erie County Technical School, and
Thank
I think that that's one of her things that she would like to do eventually is go overseas and see how things are done there. And it's
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
I said I highly recommend
Oh,
it.
okay. So we're talking about COVID and your pivot and all of the good businesses that made it through found some way to pivot. And I want to tell this story a little bit. That I don't know if you remember me when I think you were working that day during COVID. I lost my job, so it kind of changed how I went about everything. Thinking about intentionality of my employment and what I wanted to do. Out of that, the only thing that was important for me was that I had some kind of position or some way to help people. And that was what I wanted to do with my career. I've been all over the place. I've been a police officer. I've worked in college athletics, and I didn't really know what my calling was. So I kind of narrowed it down to I wanted to help people, and it didn't matter where I was or how much money I made doing that. So I had some time to myself during COVID. I worked in restaurants for a long time, Karen, and I knew that people who were working in restaurants were struggling. Right before Christmas, Governor Wolf shut all of the restaurants down to indoor dining. There was just no discussion. It was like, you're done. And, there's lots of people who make their living either waiting tables or washing dishes or cooking. And I did for a long time. But with that in mind, I wanted to try to help people. And so I put together this thing called Erie Restaurant Donation. And I got all these people together on Facebook. At the end of it, I think there was over 1,200 people. And we would have raffles for gift cards to various restaurants. And we would collect up the money, go to the restaurant, purchase a gift card. And then the rest of the money, we just gave whoever was there a large tip. And your restaurant was chosen at one point. And it was just a real thrill to be able to walk into places, buy the gift card, and do a little bit to try to get us all through COVID. And when I heard you were coming on the show, I just wanted to ask if that was you that day, and see what your thoughts on that particular process.
That might have been my sister.
Okay, all right.
That was an awesome project. And we are always, and we say this all the time, even now that we're out of COVID, always grateful for the public that supports us, that walks through those doors. I mean, people could choose to eat anywhere. Everybody works hard for what they earn, and so they could choose to go anywhere. And we're really grateful, as well as the staff, when people choose us. And we think it's really important that while you're inside, that your experience is a good one. So that really does matter to us. So thank you for that.
I got the sense of that when I came in. Everything was kind of just scattered. You were still doing takeout orders, but the difficulty of switching that, removing the chairs. I remember when I came in, all the chairs were stacked up against the wall, and just kind of trying to transition and get through that. When I came to your place, there was still a sense of optimism there, and it kind of showed with everybody that was still working and trying to push through, and so it makes a difference.
Yes.
So I have a question for Karen, if you don't mind. So Karen, could you tell our listeners maybe something great that happened while you were starting your business, and something that if you knew back then when you first started your business that now, you would totally tell your younger self, hey, do this or don't do this? A little bit of advice for our startup listeners in the community.
So I can tell you, one of the great things that happened during COVID, and also being part of the ETI incubator, is that during our pivot, as we were trying to get this sauce off the ground, the Beehive over at Gannon and the ETI staffing helped us put together a Kickstarter campaign to sort of raise funds to try to get this sauce project off the ground. And we've learned a lot about putting products into the market, into the sphere. So it takes a lot. But that was an incredible education. They were the students, as well as the staff and the professor that was in charge of the students, an incredible effort. They did a phenomenal job, and it was successful. Probably, I think you have like 30 days to get to your goal. And I think that we exceeded our goal in like 8 to 10. So that was like phenomenal. What would I tell my younger self not to do? Let's see. I don't know. Well, when we first got started, we were still trying to figure out how we were going to set ourselves up. And I think probably, and it still sticks out in my mind, the POS system, which wasn't a POS system when we got started, that we started with in order to document sales. I think I would have gone cloud-based from the very beginning. It was a lot of paper. So we learned from, that experience. I think we probably ran for 2 years with a register before we realized that that cloud-based POS system was probably the way to go. I mean, they had already gotten beyond their startup. So they were starting to become more and more prevalent. And I think we were in the process of starting while that was all evolving. And wow. Had I known then what I know now, I probably would have started that way from the beginning. But, you learn as you grow, and you learn by the mistakes that you make.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I had a thought, and it kind of escaped as you were answering that. So I know that in my experience did you do handwritten tickets before you switched over?
No, so the servers write things down just to remember before they get to the POS system now. But this one was like a computer.
Right.
It wasn't really attached to anything. So every time it couldn't generate nearly the reports that the POS system that we have now can generate. I mean, inventory, everything is all in the cloud. That wasn't the case with this system that we started with. So yeah, and we tried to do it. Actually, what happened is that in an attempt to stick with local business, and that's what it was. It was a local business that supported it. He hadn't understood that cloud-based POS systems were what would be the future, and so we got this register that could not do nearly what we need to do. And so, we learned, but we went to him as a way of supporting another small business in the community. So
Right.
I'll say that that's a good part of it. We actually wanted to support small business. So
I'm looking at the menu, and I would have a difficult time picking exactly what I would want to eat. What is your favorite dish?
oh my gosh, it depends on what kind of day I'm having. It depends on how my pants are fitting.
One of the
Yes,
entrees, ribeye, that catches my eye everywhere I go.
I know.
Yes,
I'm
they
looking
do.
at the food now too. It looks delicious.
I don't need to look at the menu. It's shrimp and grits with the hush puppies as an appetizer.
Okay.
Every time.
Every time?
Every time. I don't look at the menu.
Well,
It's that good.
man, there's just so much.
This is Brad Gleason. I'm going to jump in and ask a question to Karen, because I've had the good fortune of working with Karen both on the board and in the ETI, and observed her entrepreneurial style, will be my term. And the style and wording I'll put to it is you have a ability to communicate what you're working on, what you're trying to do, and in doing that, you're actually reaching out to see how the local supports can tie into what you're trying to do. How did you learn how to create that narrative and that outreach posture?
That's a really good question. I think that that might be part of who I am and where I come from. So again, like I said before, I'm originally from New York City. And so I have lived in a place where there are so many people that are not connected. So when I moved to Erie, this was like, oh my gosh. And maybe because I'm in the hospitality field and I always want everybody to sort of like be connected or at least be able to have reached out or touched somebody if they came in contact with me. But moving to Erie, it was just like, oh my gosh, it's like less than 6 degrees of separation here. I mean,
Absolutely.
somebody knows somebody that if you don't know them directly, you know that they know somebody that you know. I remember going into the grocery store and seeing somebody that I saw like 2 days ago somewhere else, like in the Target. But I think that because I recognized that when I first moved here, the most important focus I had at the time, when I moved here, I had left the corporate hotel environment. And my husband is a physician here in town. So I decided to be hands-on, like full-blown mom. I have 3 sons. And so the first 2 were already here. I hadn't had the other one. He's 8 years difference between the middle and the last than himself. Anyways, it was really important for me to create community for them because we didn't know anybody here. So I think that that's kind of how it got started. So it really was about, and I didn't have to like be best friends with everybody, but the ability for us to be in a community where they knew who those kids belonged to, and the kids knew whose parents, who their parents were, vice versa. So in the course of really just creating connection for my kids is probably where I got my training. And I did that for like 17 years before I started a business. So it was really about just, I participated on boards at school. I participated in the community. I participated in medical things as it was related to my husband's work. So I think that just really trying to get wicked into a community that I was like a foreigner in, was really important to me. And I think that now that I'm in business, it sort of translates to that. Because when people walk through the door, the first thing we do is speak to them. Even if we, don't know them personally, hello, it will be right with you. You go back and check and see how they're doing when they're eating. You haven't seen them before. You wonder if they're from around there or where they came from. So these things sort of became very important to us. We wanted to know where people were coming from and who they were. And sometimes people are happy enough to share their story with you. And sometimes they just say, oh, we're just passing through. So, I mean, just to be aware of who's in your space and why they came and how they found out about you was really important to us. So I think that that's probably how that whole thing got started.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you said it much better than I did. When I came in there, I had that sense. It was a sense of optimism. It was a sense of caring about the customer that walked through the door. And you don't get that everywhere. But it was definitely, I went to a lot of restaurants, but that one stuck out in my mind, that was intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, as a reciprocal point to that question, what a great answer, Karen. Thank you for that. When Kathy reached out and asked you to join our board, and we got to know you a little bit better, it became very clear that, yeah, you have other ideas, you have other businesses, you really belonged in ETI to kind of grow the business. But that decision was easy because you were creating that discussion in Europe. I knew exactly what you were managing, what you saw as the next business product, and where you were headed. And that's pretty rare. There's a lot of introverted startups out there that can't convey that story and create a mental picture to understand how to support. I think that talent you built over time, both for your family and to get to know Erie, is actually something in itself that is a nugget for introverts to take away, that they need to create that narrative. Shameless plug for our board. 7 of the 9 board members we have are entrepreneurs. For that reason, is to understand our programming. They understand the journeys they're on and how our supports relate to that. And you are actually the pillar we wanted on our board to be able to understand how to build programming correctly, so that it plussed up people who are trying to build either investment or build to market. What a great story. And with the sauce piece, do you mind sharing a little bit more about the name of that company, where that's at, if you have a moment to do that?
Yes. So the name of the company that we started to manage the sauce product is called 8 Franz. And it's still in its infancy. We've managed to we've been bottling it like at the restaurant. We have gotten help with creating the label through the Beehive, through ETI, and we're still sort of shaking off some of the what do you call that? The effects of COVID. I think that people don't realize how much of a wide ripple that was. While we got a lot of support funding to help us to keep going, things got a lot exponentially more expensive. And so it really now is just about balance and how to find our footing and keep going. So grateful, of course, to all of the funding that helped get us through the most difficult time, but still trying to figure out how to balance all of that as we, sort of transition. And so we've been more focused on that and not as focused on necessarily pushing the sauce product, because we're trying to figure out how to make sure that the parent of the sauce, where we're making it, is still going to be able to stabilize itself. Yeah, we've got it in 3 locations here in town. A farm market, the co-op, and also we were selling it at Scott's Meat Market. I haven't gone back over there yet this summer, but and we also sell it at the restaurant. So we've still got those small little pockets of places where we're selling it. And as soon as we can get our bearing for, the main, the parent, we can probably start pushing or figuring out how we're going to get that going again.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. It's all natural, has a nice kick to it. I dip my sandwiches in it, just shameless.
So definitely go check that out. We're coming up on the end of the show. That was a fast hour. But I want to thank all of our guests today. Julie Zajac from Three Pillars Farm out in Columbus, PA. Go check out Farm Fest. I want to thank Karen Thomas, Brad Gleason, and Kathy Roach, all members of the Erie Technology Incubator. Thank you all for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Steph, we have a quick minute here. Can you tell us one or two new additions to the catalog for the Corey Higher Education Council?
Well, sure. I want to get in Erie Gives Day, too. Don't forget about Erie Gives
Erie
Day.
Gives Day. That's an important day for us.
August 13th coming up. We get to dunk our director, and we got bands going on, and we'll have free hot dogs, lots of stuff. We get to donate to your nonprofit.
You don't have to.
You don't have to, no, but it's a chance
if you dunk the director, you should really give to your favorite
that
charity.
we don't have to. I think that's a mandatory. You should dunk the director. Probably running out of time for the classes, but yeah, we've got a lot of great classes coming up. Caradol has been working hard on getting so many different kinds of classes coming up. We've got the one that was just added yesterday was comparing and contrasting the world's major religions. That's a series, goes from September to December. There's also another series I found kind of interesting, Master Homeowner, all courses. That will be like you can take all the courses or one or two.
It's a big program. Check that out. So I want to get the dad joke in.
So yes, we got to get the dad joke in.
I'm just cut you short. Here we go. It's one of my favorites. It's an old one. Did you hear about the scarecrow who won a Nobel Prize? He was outstanding in his field.
Great farm.
We'll see you next week. Community Chronicles Radio. Stay here for the Executive Pulse Show.